Okay, good afternoon. Again, thank you for joining the September Modernization and Issuer Outreach Call. My name is Renee Justbuddy, and I am a Senior Business Analyst within the Customer Experience Division in the Office of Securities and Operations here at Ginnie Mae. Next slide, please. Okay, during this afternoon's call, we have quite a hefty agenda, but don't fear, we will have some brief Q&A in between topics so that you do not have to worry about holding on to your questions until the end of the call. First, we're going to kick things started off with Platinum RG, then hand things over to discuss RSA soft token automated provisioning, followed by an IOPP Scorecard overview. And then moving into payment default status, otherwise known as PDS, and then RFS expanded data collection. It's not really a timeline, so that's a minor edit there. Then we will be moving on to the master agreement renewal reminder, and then we will end the call with talking about SFPDM adoption. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm going to hand the call over now to Alexandra, and she's going to talk about Platinum RG.
All right, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Just a high-level overview of this project. So really to support the role in the secondary mortgage market, we're really just enhancing the operational infrastructure. And so for this project specifically, we are creating a new custom pool type, CRG, for reperforming loans. So under these requirements, basically reperforming loans will be eligible for new pool types and are identified using a loan purpose code of 5 reperforming at pooling. Otherwise, new CRG pool maintains the same parameters as other custom pool types. Benefits and functionalities, really just to highlight here. So the single class CRG pool types changes to the Platinum application will allow single class CRG pool types to be included in Platinum CSP and CJP pools. New custom pool types. So as I mentioned just a moment ago, reperforming loans are only eligible for new pool types and are identified using a loan purpose code of 5 reperforming at pooling. So that is the overview of Platinum RG. Any questions?
Alex, we're going to hold questions until after our next couple of topics. No worries, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to hand you. I'm sorry. Okay.
I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Next, we're going to pass things over to Jed Thomas with Ginnie Mae to talk about RSA soft token automated provisioning.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, you guys. Can we update the slide? Thank you. For RSA soft token automated provisioning, as an overview, currently RSA soft tokens are used for multi-factor authentication and is currently being transitioned from hard tokens to soft tokens. This process will leverage existing technology to automate the process to manage, track, and allow RSA soft tokens for all Ginnie Mae users to have that access and ability on any PDA, for example, that they decide to utilize for their existing multi-factor authentication. The release will modify how the user's inactivity is managed within My Ginnie Mae to improve the user and organization administrator experience. Some of the key benefits and functionalities, for example, new user registration form modification, where existing token holder registration is no longer applicable and will be captured automatically. Help desk integration as well, reconciliation of existing token holders where it connects existing user profiles to My Ginnie Mae accounts to enable management of tokens throughout MGM My Ginnie Mae. Token holder profile status, also which communicates between My Ginnie Mae and the RSA Authentication Manager to verify, match, and store the user's status and token information in their RSA profile. One of the key benefits and functionalities, in addition to those already previously noted, self-service token file generation, which will allow for RSA soft token holders to generate their token files in real time when they have device changes to their current device. Cleanup of existing RSA profiles, as well as provisioning and new soft tokens also, which will allow for RSA soft tokens to be automatically provisioned once a functional role has been requested, and will also trigger a welcome email as well as instructions for installation and the use of the soft token. Also, it will also update the user inactivity changes, which following the 90-day inactivity period, users will, after this process, will be locked instead of disabled, which will allow the end user's functionality roles to remain within the system, and the admins will only be required to unlock the user when they want the inactive status to turn back to active. And that's it for RSA.
Hey, Jed, can I jump in here real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. This is Letitia Jefferson, Director of Customer Experience at Ginnie Mae, and I got a couple questions for you. If you guys can use the reactions button on the bottom of the screen, I am curious to know, first of all, can you raise your hand? Do you have an RSA token today? Can you give me an indication of how many folks on the call have a thumbs up will do too. Okay, I got some token holders. Okay, ooh, got lots of token holders. This is good stuff. I appreciate this feedback. Okay, good deal. Now my next question, do I have any org admins on the line? Give me some thumbs up if I've got some org admins on the line. Yep, org admins. Ooh, and a heart. I love it. I love the hearts. Okay, all right. So before we move on, there are a couple things that I want to call out for those two audiences. So obviously, if you already are a token holder, you know this applies to you. But there's actually some really awesome benefits here for both token holders and org admins. So that top right corner, it says self-service token file generation. That is a really nondescript way of saying that you're going to be able to change devices without having to contact the service desk. So anybody who has had to change their token from maybe one phone to another phone or desktop to a mobile device, or yeah, I better see some hearts flying. That means you are not going to have to contact the service desk to do that function anymore. So as you update your mobile devices, you're going to be able to do that all by yourself. Yeah, I thought I'd get some love off of that one. And then the other thing that's in here that you can't really see for my org admins, you know that every 90 days when your users do not log into My Ginnie Mae and update their password, they are deemed inactive. And in our system, you see down there on the bottom right, in our system, what happens is their account is disabled and their functional roles are removed. And what we are doing, and that would also mean that their RSA token would be removed. We are updating those rules so that will no longer happen. At 90 days inactivity, what's going to happen is the account will be locked. The org admin will have to go in and unlock the account, but when they do that, all the functional roles and the RSA token will still be there. You will not have to reassign functional roles. Okay, now I'm getting the love I was looking for. All right, thanks, y'all. So this is a huge win. I know, right? This is a huge win. We are super excited to roll this out to you guys because these are two items that you guys are calling into the service desk for regularly. We knew this is something that you wanted to be able to do on your own, and we are happy, elated to be able to roll this out to you. So Jed, I don't know if you have another slide on this, but I do see folks want to know when this is coming.
Currently, right now, we are slated.
I'm sorry, there's one more slide. There's a timeline that you all have to share. So that's
okay.
The slide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now,
go on mute.
In late late September, we anticipate initial materials will be rolled out for modernization bulletins and key communications that will be shared with the team. We will also in October have the updated process request, and replacing the soft tokens will be available for users within that timeframe as well. Late October, November, we will identify users, and they'll actually will receive communication that the unused soft tokens will be deprovisioned. So we anticipate being able to essentially roll this out in October, and any sort of cleanup that needs to take place will take place essentially between the end of October and November.
So Jed, I'm going to jump in here again to add on to what you are saying. Just real quick, folks, I know you get irritated with us when we don't give you solid dates. Let me explain why the team is not able to give you solid dates at this time. If anyone's following the news and what's going on in Congress, you know that our budget situation is a little bit fuzzy right now. And in the event that we do shut down again, some of our project release dates are in flux. So the team really does hope to and aim to have something out to you, like he said, late October. But because for those reasons, we can't give you specific dates at the moment, but we will be issuing additional guidance on this. So pay attention for Modernization Bulletin, and that'll tell you more. Another question I'm going to go ahead and address while we've got it. You'll have an opportunity to ask more questions here in a few minutes, but the other benefit that is like huge deal, it was on the last slide, Bailey, if we can go back real quick. I didn't call this one out, but it's a big deal. That top left item, new user registration form modification. There is no longer going to be a form required. Okay. I know in today's world, you have to get a form for us and fill it out, and then it gets submitted, and then it gets sent to someone else, and then gone. Forms are gone. As a part of the automated provisioning process, what happens is when an org admin assigns a functional role, an authorized signer functional role, which requires a token, what's going to happen is the automated workflow is going to go in and check to see if that person is on the 11702. And for my document custodians, there's a different check. But if that person is authorized to get a token, it's going to kick off the workflow to automatically send that token file so that you can set up your token. So it becomes part of the workflow when an org admin, provides or requests and approves that authorized signer functional role. Okay, no more forms. I know I need to get some more love off of that one. No more forms. Okay, we can move on.
I was going to say, I definitely saw a lot of responses coming through. Okay, so next topic is the IOPP Scorecard. And I'm going to be handing things over to Sean Martin for this overview.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. The IOPP Scorecard, the Issuer Operational Performance Profile Scorecard. It provides issuers with a framework and methodology to gauge their effectiveness in Ginnie Mae programs. The tool assesses issuer individual performance using key indicators and measures issuer operational and default performance in comparison to peers. Many of you are familiar with the IOPP Scorecard, and we have had some hiccups with it over the past, 6 months or a year or so with a few of the different metrics. While we've resolved many of those issues, we do currently have an outage with one of our metrics, and that's it's affecting our single family issuers. So that's the single family prepayment rate metric outage. So I wanted to give you a status update on that, and the current status update of that is that there's no change. So as for background, in July, Ginnie Mae received reports of an outage to that metric, impacting our single family issuers. We're continuing to experience that service outage on that metric, and we are actively working to correct this issue. So how we're responding and how that will impact your scorecard is that the single family prepayment metric will continue to display the June data on the IOPP scorecard, and that was the last correct metric rate scorecard data was from June. We also issued Modernization Bulletin number 27, which alerts issuers of that outage. And the next steps are that once we correct this issue with the single family prepayment rate metric, once we get it up to date, we will update you, our issuers, with a modernization bulletin letting you know that the issue is resolved. So we thank you very much for your patience on this outage that we're experiencing. And that's all for the IOPP scorecard.
Thank you, Sean. Next we're going to break here and for a brief Q&A. There are 3 ways that you can ask questions, which some of you have already been doing so. So the first one is by raising your hand, by hovering over the bottom of your screen, by the reactions, and then selecting the raise hand icon. If you have a question that way, please do make sure that you unmute yourself so that you can ask your question. Second, if you've dialed in from a phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand on the phone. The host will then identify you, and then you can select *6 to unmute yourself. And lastly, you can ask questions simply by typing them into the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen. We do ask that if you have questions, please refrain from using the chat box. In the event that we need to do some additional follow-up with some of the questions that you have, we're not able to capture anything in the chat once this call has ended. I do know that there have been some questions already answered in the Q&A box, so thank you to those who have been responding. Before I go to the Q&A box, I will ask Bailey, who is driving these slides, are there any hands raised on the phone? Or
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, yes, Renee, we have a hand raised from Ronald Yola. Ronald, you have been permitted to speak, so feel free to ask your question.
You can just press *6 to unmute yourself. You'll be able to speak and we'll be able to hear you.
He may have raised his hand earlier when Letitia asked listeners to raise their hands.
Okay.
So I will go on to the next participant. We have a question from Matthew Griffin. Matthew, you have been placed off mute and should be able to speak now.
Hi, Renee. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Question for SFPDM. It's not on anything we've displayed yet, but when on final certs in JennyNet, when the custodian would submit them, they'd be available immediately for us to go and submit. In SFPDM, it seems to take an overnight process. Is there any, is there any plan to change that to make it where it's same day, just like in JennyNet, or will it always be an overnight batch process before we could see their final certifications in SFPDM?
Good question, Matt. Well, actually, if we can hold that question until we get to the SFPDM topic, just because that is related to our single family issuers, and we have a couple of our other issuer community attendees on the call. So we want to make sure that we can address that question when we're specifically talking about SFPDM. So, but great question. Thank you for it.
All right, I have one other one, but I'll ask it later if it's
okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Are there any other hands raised, Bailey?
Yes, we have a hand raised from, and I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name, LaShonia Michelle. You have been placed off mute and should be able to speak now.
I don't think I had a question.
Your hand was raised, but I can fix that.
No problem.
Thank you. Renee, that's all the hands we have raised.
Okay, thank you. And that was Michelle Murphy, one of our multifamily account executives. So thank you for joining the call, Michelle. All right, so we do have some questions in the chat box. I'm sorry, in the Q&A box rather, that I will read aloud. The first question is from Brittany Abbott. Her question is around RSA soft token. And it is the token serial number still a required field when token holder is selected in the Access console? And do we still need to keep track of the addition / deletion forms of token holders in Ginnie Mae for Ginnie Mae audits? Jed, are you able to answer that question for us?
That is a good question. I will have to follow up on that one. And if I can provide that answer for you.
Yeah, hey, Jen, this is Letitia. So that's an Access Management Console question. Is John Arthur on the line or someone who can speak to AMC a little bit better?
I don't.
I'm on the line, Letitia, but I'm not sure I can.
Not sure about that one. Okay, yeah. No worries. So I will say to Brittany, that one is when we go to do our cleanup effort. You saw, if we can go back to the slide, Bailey, on the timeline. Jed discussed that there is, that token cleanup effort. When we get to the token cleanup effort, what we're going to do is reconcile those fields. And so, no, you will not have to complete that token field. When we get to that point, that cleanup effort is going to be October, November timeframe, however. So for now, the answer is yes. Nothing about these processes change until we get to those implementation dates in late October and November. But when we do the cleanup effort, what's going to happen is we're going to remove all of those old serial numbers attached to hard tokens and make sure that it is updated to the soft token serial number so that when a token is issued, that field will update. And then any reports that are generated out of the AMC to reflect those token numbers for audit purposes will be up to date. So hopefully, Brittany, somewhere in all of that, I answered your question. But if I didn't, definitely come off mute or jump in here and let me know what else I can answer for you.
If she did answer the question for you, Brittany, if you can give us a thumbs up, perfect. Thank you. If we can stay on this slide, there is another question regarding the timeline from Julie Phillips. And the question is, she said, the timeline indicates unused soft tokens will eventually be deprovisioned and wants to know if there will be an opportunity for soft token holders to use the token outside of actual activity. For example, their backup AOS are not the primary certifiers and do not routinely use their soft tokens. She wants to know, how can they prevent deprovisioning?
So Julie, that's a good question. And you're getting at exactly why we put this automated provisioning process in play. As a matter of security and, in terms of managing the licenses for those tokens, we have to pull them back when they're not being used. But the automated workflow in terms of issuing a token or a new token is going to be so quick that if someone needs a token urgently through that workflow, they'll be able to manage that process within 24 hours. So we can get you a token, in under 24 hours with the automated workflow. So there's no longer a need for all of these users. And I'm telling you, there are thousands for all of these users to hold on to a token in case one day they might need it. If an authorized signer does not have a token because they don't actively normally play a role, but they do need to step in, on an emergency or urgent basis to move a transaction forward, we'll be able to make that get that token to them very quickly. The longest part of that process will be the user actually installing the token on their device. So this automated workflow is designed to make sure that we can respond in those instances when a non-traditional authorized signer needs to step in and assist. That is exactly what the workflow is designed to do. So we do have to pull back those tokens that are not being used so they can be reissued for folks that do actually need them when they need them, okay?
All right, thanks, Letitia. We have one more question before we move on to the next topic, and it's around CRG pools. And the question is, when is the start date for CRG pools?
That's a great question. So we are looking to, we're targeting a production deployment of October 6th. So that pool type will be available in the October pool submission cycle.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex, for responding. Yep. Okay, so we're going to move on.
Quick, I'm sorry, Renee, there's another question in here related to something that we were talking about. If I can real quick. Julie, I got your question. So that is a good one. No, what these changes to the security requirements do not mean that organizations can now drop below 3 org admins. The 3 active org admin requirement stands, okay? But what it does mean is that if an org admin goes inactive, they do not lose their role when they go inactive. So the only action that needs to be taken to reestablish that access is to unlock their account. So it will definitely save you some work and some effort and some time. But it does not change the requirement that you have 3 active org admins.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that, Letitia. All right, so moving on to the next topic. Next slide, please. We're gonna pass it over to the VDEV team to discuss the RFS expanded data collection.
Thank you. Yeah, hi guys, Heather McDonald over at Deloitte helping with this expanded data collection. So wanted to give folks an update on how we're going. So I think last time we were on this call, we had mentioned an upcoming APM, which has now been released. That was back in late May. Appreciate everybody who had asked questions and we received feedback, was very much appreciative and helpful. So thank you all for that. So for a little bit of just in case folks need to be caught up to speed, this is an additional 11 data elements and 1 updated data element to existing single family and multifamily reporting feeds within RFS. So it's not a new data stream, it's just additional data, loan level data elements. Many of these already exist on the pool level, but they are just adding to the loan level details. And to reiterate, this is for single family and multifamily issuers. Like we said, we've gotten some good communication back, but as always, if you continue to have questions, please reach out to the Ask Ginny May at HUD.gov and our team can work with you. If we move on to the next slide, we wanted to give a little bit of an update on the roadmap. So right now, where we are is, so yeah, we had released that first APM, gotten some feedback. And so as we are finalizing the production build in Ginny May system, we want to keep you all informed and up to speed with the next steps on your end. So in the next coming months, we'd like you all to be on the lookout for a second APM release and a modernization bulletin. And these will be released to help you get some additional information and guidance on the next steps, specifically around file testing. So that APM will detail when and how to begin testing and uploading files. We will reiterate, if you are somebody who works with a servicing bureau, please reach out to them and work with them to make sure that you are aware if they will be testing on your behalf. We'll be requiring file testing for like we mentioned, either anybody who has a third-party servicing platform provider, or if you have your own in-house servicing platform. So please, yeah, if you work with a third-party provider, if you're not already in communication with them, I'd reach out. But yeah, so look out for that second APM and modernization bulletin. We'll have an updated Appendix 619, which currently the original version is attached to that first APM for reference, but we'll have some updates there. After that, so that's by the end of the calendar year. We are looking right now to do a data file testing window in the first or second calendar quarter of 2024. And that'll be that, about 3 months of file testing. After that, we'll do an additional modernization bulletin. And we are looking to do a go live for requiring these additional data elements to be reported starting June 2024. So I wanted to give some folks a little bit of an update on the roadmap. We'll be having some updated detailed communications, making sure that you all are up to speed and ready to go for those new data elements. Alrighty, and we won't go too much into depth. This is, again, in the appendix, and many of you have probably seen this plenty before, but these are the data elements that we will be updating. That first one will just be the updated removal reason code, and then we have the additional 11 data elements that will either be on the loan or the various record. All right. And then these are the updated reason codes again in the appendix. Shouldn't be too brand new for folks, but please reference the appendix or the deck once it gets sent out if you need a refresh. All right, and keeping on track with time, I'm gonna continue chatting with you all. So whereas RFS was additional loan level data elements, this next one, payment default status PDS, is actually going to be a new reporting stream. So for many of you, this may be the first time that you're hearing about this, or maybe haven't heard about it in potentially over a year. So wanted to start communicating again what this payment default status reporting is PDS, and what the next steps are. So we just want to reiterate for now, we are simply keeping you informed. Don't be too worried right now about next steps or actions to take. More so, just be on the lookout that this will be upcoming on your radar. So PDS, like I mentioned, in RFS was additional data elements. PDF will be a new reporting stream. It'll still be within RFS, but it's going to be a new reporting stream and file layout within RFS. So for this one, we're looking to expand the information around defaulted and loans and forbearance on a loan level basis. And so it'll be only for single family issuers. Wanted to make that denotation only for single family issuers. So it will be a new module and a new file within RFS. And the hope is for this, it'll help get more granular insights into delinquent loans. We'll talk about this. I think it's listed on the next slide, but it will replace the supplemental forbearance file. So it'll help streamline your reporting. And then of course, provide additional insight into the loan level reporting. Very similarly, as we move forward, if you have questions, feel free to send them to the Ask Me mailbox, and we're happy to answer questions. And so for PBS, we're not putting dates to things right now since we are still in some initial stages with our roadmap, but we did just want to let you all know what is on the horizon. So over the last 6 months to a year, the team had actually done some just very early testing with some early adopters. So there's a few issuers who, thank you if you were a participant, we had worked with to get some preliminary test files just to see how the system reacted. So we've done that. There's been no APM release just yet for PDF. That will be upcoming. And then after the APM release, we will do, similar to RFS, we'll do a file testing window. and then we will be bringing it up to a go live for full reporting. And then for the last slide, we will be releasing more details upcoming, but so this will be the general format or the general field for the new delinquency record. So a little bit of information around default reason codes, forbearance terms, and then action code, which will have subsequent tables for details. So this will be the delinquency record introduced for this new reporting stream.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. So now we're going to pause again here for another Q&A. If you have any questions related to RFS, expanded data collection, or the payment default status, PDS, please go ahead and ask those questions now. Bailey, do we have any hands raised on the phone?
Yes, we have a hand raised from Elaine Tonis. Elaine, you have been unmuted and should be able to speak now. Elaine, can you hear us?
Maybe she had her hand raised on accident. If Eileen, if you're not able to unmute yourself on the phone, if you could, and if you're not able to ask the question in the chat, if you could send your question to the Ask Jenny May at HUD.gov mailbox, and we will be able to have someone from our team respond to your question. Any other hands raised, Bailey?
No.
Okay. So we will go into the chat. There is a question from Jacqueline Priestley, and it is around PDS reporting. And she wants to know, are there any exceptions of this being effective? Are there any expectations of this being effective in 2024? I believe you answered that question.
Right, that's a great question. So we are still finalizing the timeline, and we are aware that we are hoping to, or we're going to try to avoid RFS data elements and the new PBS data from being tested during the same window. So we are hopeful that we could try to shoot for some sort of testing in mid to late 2024, but nothing has been finalized. And we're going to continue to work with you all issuers and as well as Jenny May to find what works best.
Thank you so much. And then there's one more question about PDS. And Fran Jensen wants to know if it only applies to single family issuers.
Yes, single family will only, or PBS will only be for single family issuers.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we will now move on to the next topic, which are MAMS renewals. And I'm going to go ahead and take it over here from here. Next slide, please. So it is that time of year again where a master agreements are coming upon us for renewal. So just a quick few things to highlight here, that all forms must be renewed yearly by the end of the calendar year, except for the HUD 11709A. ACH debt authorization does not need to be renewed annually. And then another point I would like to touch on is that renewals may be processed from the first business day of October until the last day of December. And lastly, if there are no changes to your form, a renewal is sufficient. You will only need to create a new document when there are changes. So that was a nice quick rundown of our master agreement renewals. And for our last topic of the day, we will touch on SFPDM adoption. Next slide, please. So what I'm going to be doing is providing a quick overview of where we are in the adoption efforts, as well as provide some of our next steps that are related to the cutover from GennyNet to SFPDM, and then provide some resources. So here, what in this timeline, the required PDD SFPDM implementation talks about back in June of this year, an APM was released announcing the July 31st date where single family issuers were required to either test their PDD in the VTT or begin pooling in SFPDM. And since we have surpassed that date, the majority of our issuers they did meet that July 31st requirement. So we thank you for doing so. Where we are now is we are approaching the end of the adoption window. And what that means is that GennyNet cutover of pooling functions in SFPDM will be effective as of December 1st. And at that time, SFPDM will be the only application available for single family and manufactured housing issuers to pool loans in. MBS guide changes will be announced via an APM prior to this date. So please do be on the lookout for that announcement that will confirm the cutover date once again. So at the bottom here, we are showing some of our major accomplishments. We have 243 issuers that met that July 31st requirement date. And this group accounts for 97% of past 12-month single family issuance. So that's a phenomenal metric. Moving on to the right, we have 2,500, about more than 2,500 PDD files have been tested in the VTT on an average in the past 3 months. And what that is it's 198 issuers and 16 vendors have tested since the VTT became available. Another phenomenal metric. And lastly, we have 8 vendors that have made their PDD software available to our single family issuers, which accounts for 96% of issuers that reported working with those vendors. So a lot of progress being made with the SFPDM adoption as we approach our December 1st cutover date. Next slide. Okay, so some of our cutover next steps, or these aren't really next steps, these are focused items that we are currently focusing on as an adoption team. Right now, we are focusing on issuers who are planning to transact extended term, reperforming, and/or digital collateral e-note products using the 3.0 PDD. What will need to happen is those issuers will need to they will need to convert to that PDD specification 3.0 by December 1st in order to transact those 3 specific pool types. At the bottom here, GennyNet cutover of pooling functions. Again, as I mentioned earlier, December 1st, SFPDM will be the only application available for single family manufactured housing pooling activities. If you are an issuer who submits pools manually, we encourage you to begin doing so now if you have not already done so. And again, all single family and manufactured housing program issuers must prioritize any final PDD testing and fully transition pooling activities to SFPDM by December 1st. Next slide, please. And here we just have some feedback that we've received from our single family issuers. And we thank you for your feedback that we've received. A lot of issuers are saying that SFPDM is easy to use. It's a piece of cake and it's very intuitive. Issuers have been able to get the resources up to speed quickly because of the intuitiveness of the SFPDM through training documents. We see that SFPDM is a significant upgrade, and it has been well thought through. And lastly, we're seeing here that the team has been great about the support of their development effort. And at the bottom, we just have some resources that we would like to call out. Please, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the jennymay.gov notifications. That way you will be able to receive any notifications regarding SFPDM adoption or any of the different initiatives that are taking place at Ginnie Mae. And you'll also be able to find out about other modernization calls. The presentation for today's call will be available on the issuer training page under outreach calls. If someone from our team can please post the link to that site in the chat, that will be very helpful. And then for any support that you may have or any questions that you may have and you would like answered, please do email us at askjennymay@hud.gov, or you can dial the phone number here you see on the screen. And of course, if you are a single family issuer, please do attend our now bi-weekly SFPDM and PDD listening sessions. Our next session is going to be held next Thursday, September 28th at 2:00 p.m. Okay, I believe that's it. Yes. Okay, so now it's time to ask questions that either you were not able to ask earlier in the call, or if you have any questions about MAMS renewal or SFPDM adoption. Bailey, do we have any questions or any hands raised on the phone?
Hi, Renee. No hands raised at this time.
All right. Okay, so I will go into the Q&A box, and I do see here that Colleen Marks has a few questions. Colleen, we will have somebody that are related to SFPDM. I'm sorry. Colleen, we will have someone from our adoption team reach out to you individually to help you through some of the questions that you have here and work with you offline. If you are okay with that, please do give me a thumbs up. Okay, maybe she's not okay with it. Well, okay, thank you, Colleen. I thought you would be. I know I've spoken with you before. I thought that would be okay. All right, so we have a question from an anonymous person, and they would like to know if they have a PDD version 3.0, since we use CET and RG, how can I know if I have a PDD version 3.0? Okay, so you would like to know how you would know if you have the PDD 3.0 version to be able to issue ET and RG pools. Nicole Jackson?
Yeah, so first, I don't know, this is an anonymous person. So first, if you used a PDD from a software vendor, you can confirm that with your software vendor. But the key is, do you have the capability of submitting e-note indicator, which is a new field that's in version 3.0? And can you submit pool types of RG or ET? Those are also new pool types available in version PDD 3.0. So if you put those pool types, or if you submit the e-note indicator field for digital collateral or e-notes, through your PDD import, then you have version 3.0. If you're unable to submit those pool types and that digital collateral e-note indicator using your PDD, then you do not have the PDD 3.0 version. Those are the major changes.
Thanks, Nicole. And then someone else that's anonymous is asking, where can they go to convert to SFPDM prior to December?
I think they're asking where they can get the specs for PDD 3.0. If we can get someone from the team to drop the link to the Modernization Initiatives page in that chat.
Right, it's available on jennymay.gov. Yep. Under Issuers and Modernization Initiatives. You can get the specs for the PDD. There's training there for the VTT and SFPDM applications, as well as a lot of other resources available to those who are converting.
I dropped that in the Q&A.
Thanks.
Drop the link.
Thanks, Letitia.
And okay, so Sandy Reed, or Red, I'm sorry, is asking what percentage of issuers are actually delivering through SFPDM at this time because they continue to test and make changes to their system, but the struggle is real. So I don't have the exact percentage in front of me, but I will say that, as I mentioned earlier, we have 97% of our issuers have, they are currently either testing their PDD in the VTT or pooling in SFPDM. So we have quite a few, 97%, that's almost 100% of our issuers who are actively testing or pooling in SFPDM. So Sandy, if you can please reach out to our Ask Jenny May at HUD.gov email box and provide any information that our team may need in order to respond to your question, whether or not if it's PDD related or just general adoption questions. You could send that email and then someone from our adoption team will be able to help you with whatever struggle you're struggling with to adopt. Okay? All right, so we have another, so Eileen, oh, perfect, thank you for that thumbs up. So Eileen Thomas, I believe is your name, is asking a question. Oh, okay, so you're asking a question specifically about your issuer. So what we do ask is that you please do not-
Hey, Renee, let me jump in here because this is actually one I want to talk about.
Okay.
So Elaine, I see your question from Jeff and it's a good one. I understand that people are wanting to know how they will be impacted in the event of a government shutdown. We've had a few questions come in. One was, you know, if we'll continue to be able to do business. The answer is yes. And the other one is regarding whether there'll be a team available to help support SFPDM adoption. The answer is yes. So what you need to understand about Ginnie Mae operations is that we have two major contracts that we've executed to ensure that in the event of something like a government shutdown, you know, things keep moving. And so our support teams will continue to manage our day-to-day business operations, as well as support SFPDM adoption in the event that you know, Renee, Nicole, and I are not able to get to work. So please do not be concerned. I, you know, probably shouldn't have even raised the issue because it is a curse word inside of the walls of Ginnie Mae. But, you know, while there are some impacts to certain projects being able to move forward and go live, we can't put certain things into production without the proper stakeholders at Ginnie Mae signing off and approving. Our daily operations are unaffected. You are unaffected in terms of your ability to be able to pool, deliver pools, and manage your monthly investor reporting requirements, unaffected. Our teams will be available and will be working with you to make sure that there are no impacts to your daily business. And that includes your transition to SFPDM. So if you do have questions in the event that, you know, your standard government resources are not able to respond, our teams will have instructions and the ability to continue to support and service you while we are away.
Thank you, Letitia. That was definitely helpful and very much needed information. I do see that, so we do not have any other questions outside of, I do know that we have some. Oh, yes, we do. They just came in. All right. Someone wants to know how to sign up to subscribe to announcements from Ginnie Mae. So if you actually.
Hey, Bailey, can you go to the ginniemay.gov website real quick and let Renee kind of direct folks on where to get to where they enter their email to subscribe?
Thank you, Letitia.
Hold on one moment.
Thank you.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much. All right, so how you subscribe to receive notifications from Ginnie Mae, you'll just go to Ginnie Mae, www.ginniemay.gov, and scroll all the way down to the bottom of this page. So Bailey, can you scroll down for me? And right here in this purple section where it says, stay connected on what's happening, where it says stay connected on what's happening in the government housing finance sector, you'll just simply enter your email addressed in the area right where Bailey's cursor is, and then select subscribe. So Bailey, can you just type your email address in there so I can show? And then you'll have to, oh, she's already subscribed. Okay.
My first car was a Camry, so.
She may need to change. Okay, well, this is not what I was trying to show you actually. So if you can back out of this, Bailey, what I was gonna show you is there are, oh, actually, yeah, scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so what I was trying to show you were the different types of subscriptions that you'll be able to subscribe to. So what you'll do is select all of or any of the topics here under subscriptions that you would like to receive notifications about. And that's all. Thank you, Bailey. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so we have 1 minute left, and I'd like to go ahead to you, Bailey, to see if there are any hands raised on the call.
I do not see any hands raised at this time.
Okay, so I do see that we did have a question in the Q&A, but it is vendor specific. So Peggy, if you can please contact askjenniemay@hud.gov to schedule a one-on-one meeting for our team to discuss and answer your questions about the vendor that you're speaking about. Our team will be able to assist you with that. Okay.
Renee, really quick, we do have a hand raised from Matthew Griffin. He asked a question earlier about SFPDM. Matthew, you have been placed off mute and should be able to ask that question again.
Hi, Renee. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just regarding final certs and SFPDM. Once the custodian submits it, in JennyNet, it was available immediately. In SFPDM, we've had to wait until the following day to go and process them. I was wondering if that's going to be the process going forward, or if there's plans to make it intraday. And then also we wanted to see if we could get the OAA amount into that homepage. That way we could see, the schedule print balance of the pools, along with the loan count on that homepage for our, just quick verifications that it imported correctly. But the final cert is the more important question there. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for asking that question again. I know we have some folks from the bank on the call.
Yes, hi, this is Padma from the bank. So when the custodian approves the pool for final certification, are you stating that the pool is not available in SFPDM until the following day in the final certified status?
Correct. When we go in, we're not able to do our portion of the final cert until the following day.
There's no other process that is pending in SFPDM after the pool is certified by the custodian. You will just see that the pool has been final certified in SFPDM. Are you looking for the status update, or are you looking for any further action to be taken in SFPDM?
Okay, so we've just started to update it, so I don't know the terminology, but so look, the custodian final cert submits the final cert, and then we have to go in, and there's on each pool, there's a submit for final cert button that we have to click, and we can't see that button until the following day. It won't be available on SFPDM. I actually have some polls pending if we want to take it to the side, and I could show you what we currently have in the system.
Sure, that would be helpful. Yes, please.
Thank you, Padma.
Do you have a date for the next SFPDM listening session? There's a lot of great questions on this call regarding SFPDM.
Yes, I do. I was just getting ready to say that because the rest of the questions in the Q&A are related to SFPDM. So our next SFPDM and PDD listening session is scheduled for next Thursday, September 28th at 2 o'clock. So if you have any, I know we're over time, so if there are any additional questions related to SFPDM adoption, if you can please be sure to join that call. the purpose of that call is to respond to any questions that our issuers have about adoption and help you mitigate those issues. We also have the capability to do demos during that listening session. So rather than talking you through a process, we're able to do a demo and show you how to navigate the system to complete a certain process that you may have a question on. So again, please do attend those listening sessions. The next one is next Thursday, the 28th at 2 o'clock. Also, the presentation for today's modernization and issuer outreach call has been published to our website. So I believe that someone from our team is or will be or has, I'm not sure, I think I know I've asked for them to publish the link to where the presentation can be found. If you go to jennymay.gov, it's on the issuer training page under tools and resources. And if you navigate to the outreach call overviews, it's the very first presentation under outreach call overviews. So feel free to peruse that at your own leisure if you want to just do a quick recap for yourself. Okay, yes, and the link has been published. Also, there is a link to a survey. If you can please complete that survey, it's our post-session training survey. We really do love to receive your feedback so that way we can make any adjustments for any future outreach calls or any other training events that we host. So with that, again, please do complete the survey. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and thank you so much for attending and being so active during today's call. Goodbye.